Okay, for this piece, this is a new textured roller, and this is just a little sample. What I did was I took CS681 warm wood and applied it with a small fan brush, slightly thinned, and then wiped it all back with a sponge to remove it. So basically antiquing the piece is what I've done. So now what I'm going to do is go in and color like the chicks. So I'm going to use CC124 yellow ochre, and I'm going to slightly thin it. I'm not going to put any medium in it. I do want it slightly thinned. And we're just going to paint in the chicken, the feathers. And let's do the top of the head. So just a nice thin coat. This is B-Mix stoneware clay that this was rolled out on. Now this was a prototype, so the design has changed slightly, but the same elements are there. We have since moved some of this background pattern away from the main chicken design so that it stands out a little more. All right, so let's do her head. And we're going to do these side feathers, like the wings. And I'm going to go back over here and do the wings on this one. They do have a little bit of a leg. It shows down here. I'm just using the small sumi brush so that it can be nice and thin application. It's a natural hair. It's a black squirrel hair. It's nice and soft. Allows me to get an even soft coat that doesn't look streaky. Okay. All right. Let that dry for a second. Okay, so we're going to use some Aqua Splash. And these are like, they've got hands on them, so to speak. So they're new colors instead of just plain fur. So once again, I'm not thinning, or I'm not adding any medium to this. I maybe should have. I think I want to on this particular color. You can do it 50-50 or just add a few drops like I did. Make it flow on there. If you're using straight from the bottle, what's going to happen is it's going to grab to the bisque because basically you've got a pure pigment that's attaching itself and you're not able to move it around, smooth it out. So sometimes it's beneficial to add medium to it. So if I needed to like wipe it off, I could. Okay, so I think I got out here. That allows me to take that off. Zoom in a little bit. Now, these little swirly, they're flowers are what they are. So I'm just wiping it back so it doesn't have that aqua on it, so that I can put a flower color on there a little bit. This one I'm going to do green, and we're going to use CC 161 green leaf, which is what I've got in here. Add a little bit more. Put a couple of drops of medium. It's the CSP01 gloss medium. Mix that up. Okay. Let's see. This is a belt. We're going to go ahead and put it in the same green. And we'll make darker green belt loops to kind of separate it. And the antiquing that's underneath will come out in the firing and cause shading there, which is what we want. Alright, so this other little guy, we're going to do purple. So we're going to use CC 137 white violet. Same thing, we're going to add the gloss medium to it. We're just basically blocking in this color, just painting it on those areas. The larger the brush you can use, the softer the look. You will have less brush strokes. You could do it with the mini sumi, but you won't have as many brush strokes if you use the small. So it's almost like I'm putting 2 coats on because I'm going over it a couple of times just to make sure that it's an even coverage, even coat. Let me think. Okay. All right. I also want this on these tail feathers, and we're going to shade them. Switch to the mini. So I'm just following those grooves. Now the pants that I just did was, the design was raised up. And so it's easy to follow because it's raised. This is recessed, and it's easy to follow also. So it's just 2 different types of texture. Okay, I just got out of my grooves. I'm going to take this clean brush that was damp and just kind of scoot that off. Let's see. Let's do a purple flower up here. Remember, being stoneware, cone 5, cone 6, that the purples tend to, pinks and purples tend to burn out. So be generous with your application. And what I mean by that is not a thick application. You just need to make sure that you have multiple thin coats on there so that it will hold in the firing. And then the other thing that helps is using a zinc-free clear glaze. I prefer Mako's SW004 zinc-free. That works the best for me with the color concentrates. So I would test it, make yourself a test tile or something with all your colors so that you'll know what your glaze is going to do before you do a large piece. All right, and I want to do purple on her. No. Okay. Blues. We're going to do some ceruleans. So CC151 cerulean blue. And I've got CSP01 gloss medium. And I'm going to do these feathers over here. Now some of these are raised, some of them are recessed. So I'm just going to catch the whole thing. We're going to shade with a darker color on top. And I'm going to do her little top knot here. These are my Sassy chicks. I originally painted them on fabric. And then we did decals with them, outlines where you can paint your own. And so now we're doing textured rollers. You can find these rollers on my website, colorsforearth.com, or you can get them. Coal Mountain Pottery is the one that's making these for me. So you can buy them on either side. Okay. Well, we've got the green. This is that 61 green. This is just, let me get a liner. Lines are really fine. And slightly thin that. These are just like little sprays. And the nice thing about this is you can have a few others that are not necessarily in the pattern. Just adding more to make it fuller. I think that's the only place I have those. And there is a little leaf over here. And this is a leaf here coming off of that flower. Alright, so I need to find some pinks that I want to do some of the other flowers. Of course, you can pick your own colors. Alright, now I'm going to switch to some color strokes. The ones I've been using are the color concentrates. And now the pinks hold better in the color stroke line than they do in the color concentrates because these are an opaque underglaze. The others are translucent. Okay, so I'm going to use 634 Flox Pink. Excuse me, 635. And we're going to do, this already has some glaze in it, so we don't need to add it. I'm going to put this on those flowers. Just kind of drizzle it in that opening. And let's put that over here on the purple deals to these flowers. That needs to be the yellow. Alright, I want them to have pink on their shoes also. Remember, the antiquing is under there, so that'll make it darker. Alright, let's get a different color for those flowers. Let's do the 634. No, before I do that though, I'm going to put some pink up here on this little top knot. Okay, then we want the tail also. We'll come back and add shading and stuff on top of this. They're so cute. Let's do this flower. And this one here. Remember, every coat that you add deepens that color. Multiple thin coats are better than one thick heavy coat, no matter what product you're working with. It's a good rule of thumb. Alright, what color do we make those little? Maybe 637. Right, purple. Similar to the 137. We'll test this and see what the difference is. Having them on the same piece. Okay. Alright, so we're going to shade this pink with the darker pink, and then we're also going to maybe add a little bit to it also. So this one is the 634 Tea Rose. So what I'm going to do is water load, tip in that color, and then tuck that color in where I want it and let it bleed back. Kind of walk it back a little ways so that it's like the shading. Do the same up here on her top. See the two colors? You can add a little bit of this towards the center of this flower, just to give it two different colors. Some shading. And do the same up here. You can even put a little dollop or a dot, just kind of give it a little swirl. Just kind of dot the center. The center of this one is kind of recessed. I'm just going to kind of tap that in there. Okay. All right. So let's put this 634 on this flower here. I think I need some more of that yellow up there on the top. All right, then we'll take some of the purple, the 637, and we'll kind of shade, tap it in towards the center of that flower. Let it kind of bleed back into the pink. Also going to add a little touch of it over here. tiny bit up here. Isn't that cute? All right, so we can use that same yellow as our centers of the flowers. Oops, I missed a flower there. Okay. I'm going to go back this guy and paint another coat. Okay, then I need this belt. So what I'm going to do is take some of the aqua and some of the cerulean. And even add a little bit of the green. 61 green. Oh, stuck my finger in the pink. And change to the liner. Okay, now we need darker green on the other bell loop. So the green pants, I use CC 162 floral green. Get my brush damp so it can thin it out just a tiny bit. Very strong color. So be careful. Back here. All right, so pink. All right, so now we need blue, sapphire blue, CC 143. Very strong color. It's usually a very thick color also. I want to slightly thin it because I want to use it as the belt over here on this one, and I noticed I just forgot that. Flower. Okay, I'm going to go back and paint this little flower. We need the yellow because this is the actual feathers behind the glasses. We'll do the beaks a different color. All right. Let's grab 125 curry. And do those the beaks. Okay. So we need a little, you wouldn't have to, but you could blush the cheeks a little bit. With the pink, I'm going to use the stubby brush. Load that pink. And I'm going to stipple it out. And you can kind of hit her cheeks there. Okay, let's add a little bit of, I'm doing shoes, purple maybe. So mini sumi, waterloo tip, into the 637 and just tuck it at the top, let it run back and fall down into the heel and to the shoe, front of the shoe. Just for some color. Now you've got this curry, which is a darker golden yellow. Sumi shade, water load, dried off to a point, tip into that darker, and I'm going to tuck it in some different places to kind of let it shade the fur feathers. So see how I'm tucking it at the top of some of those sections, which will give it some depth. It just makes it look shaded, give it that golden. So in between these little sections, you can tap it in at the very top of those sections. And maybe a little bit at the top of the legs, just to help shade those. Just kind of reinforces them. And we might want a little bit at the bottom of this, the head. So that just adds more dimension to it. Okie dokie. We can add some blue shading on top of that purple. Small semi watercolor, dry off to a point. Grab some of that sapphire and we'll let it bleed. And then we're also going to add it up here on this flower. Won't take much because it's really super strong. Cute. And put some right at the top here. Just kind of let it fall. necessarily want it inside the flower, but it's okay. Right. If you wanted leaves on these little flowers, you could. You'd have to do them in the darker green to make them stand out from that green. It's already on there. So you could do little pressure strokes with the 3600 number 2 liner. You can come over here and do the same. Alright, we need a darker blue to shade this. We can use that same cerulean, or you could go to deep cerulean if you wanted. I'm just going to go ahead and use this cerulean. Or sapphire, excuse me, since I've got it out here. So water load, just tip into the sapphire and let it run back down into the grooves. Almost like an antiquing. Okay. It's pretty cute. Alright, let's see. What else do we need? Maybe something else on that flower. A little bit of that darker pink towards the center. Okie doke. Got all the flower centers. So we need the eyes. I'm going to use 602 white. Only because it's an opaque. This is the color stroke. It's opaque and it'll cover up some of that other color that's already on it. In my original thing, I gave them some eyeshadow. So I'm going to thin down some of the cerulean mix. And just kind of, maybe I don't want it then. Alright, we're going to give them some blue eyes. I'm going to do 150 lights over again. I'll put black over the top of this. Alright, so let's grab some black. I'm going to use RD44. It's like a rubber tip. And after that dries, we can put a white highlight. So you have an option out here. These are leaves in the background. You could leave them just for the antiquing, or you could paint them in. I'm going to do the 161 green leaf with the gloss medium. While that's drying, I can do this. Alright, so then you have a choice on the flowers, what you want to do on those. You can make them random colors. Do some pinks, some blues, whatever. I'll grab some of the lighter pink, just tip into the dark. tap that on swirly ones. Kind of look like roses. Okay, and the other ones. Let's do some aqua and some cerulean. Oops, I forgot one there. Hold on. Okay. Now we need to get a dot of yellow and that aqua. Okay. Yep. Okay. Now we just have the black glasses. Wondering if that might get down in there. Liner. you could take your diamond core tool and scratch out a highlight, or you can add a white opaque. Some more black in that. Let's spray it and see what it looks like. It's just water. Let me find this bottle. Cute.